You know, when friends and customers are moving to Naples, Florida, or even coming here for a vacation, they often have a burning question. We should see what that burning question is and if there's an answer to it. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Terry from MVP Realty.
I'm Rich with MVP Realty.
And we talked about there being a burning question, and there are probably actually a few.
Yeah.
One of them is the one we'll tackle first, and the other one is maybe more real estate related, and we're going to talk a little bit about, is there a home for me here in Southwest Florida, given the inventory situation?
Right.
So stay tuned for that real estate feedback and what's happening here, and probably an underutilized opportunity for both sellers and buyers in our market that we want to share with you. But before we do that, I think we should tackle the real burning question.
Yeah, people want to know, well, there's a couple of ways they want to know, what's your favorite restaurant?
Always.
You know, where's a good place to go to eat?
Sure.
And of course, where can I get a good pizza and where can I get a good bagel?
Which is the tougher one to answer? Where can I get a good bagel?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to find a good pizza in Naples now than it is to find a good bagel, but
it is worth looking around and worth asking people who live here, who maybe came from the north and northeast and are used to good bagels, because we have always been on the search for the better bagel.
Right.
And we really have one we want to share with you today, and that is the Empire Bagel Factory.
Right. Yep.
That was a nice find for us. We actually were out helping a customer on Marco Island a few months back, and came across a small shop in a strip shopping center with a line out the door.
Yeah.
And it was like, what is going on in there? We've got to go check this out.
Right.
And we wanted to get something for lunch. So I remember that we ordered some lunch sandwiches that turned out to be really good.
Yep.
And while we were in there, we saw the case with the bagels.
Well, we have to try it, because at one point we went to the two big bagel places here in Naples, and we both went out and we got the same kind of bagel at each place. We came back home and we tried them out, and we decided who was the better of those two. Well,
and we're always still looking for the better bagel.
Right.
So here we were on Marco Island at Empire Bagel Factory, and we were really happy with the bagel.
Yeah.
So now we are happy to report that there are 3 locations for Empire Bagel Factory. So if you are visiting or moving to the Naples, Florida area, and you are on the hunt for the better bagel, here's one we can recommend.
Right.
And let me just show you, we bought one this morning. We're going to have a nice breakfast when we're done with this video, but here is our everything bagel.
Yep.
It is well prepared. It's a good size.
Right.
And the good news is they taste great, even for people like us who are ultimately from the Northeast and kind of looking for the right type of bagel. This is one that's closer to what we would come to expect, and we enjoy it, and it was great to make a trip over there. The other thing related to that, not only were the sandwiches great when we've done them, but we have found, in addition to bagels, that they have like a cinnamon topped coffee cake.
That I haven't tried.
Right, which some of us have, and when we have, this is a buttery, yummy piece of morning coffee cake that, again, when you're from certain parts of the country, you're looking for those things early in the morning, and you just don't find them in supermarket bakeries. They are just not the same. And so it's really neat to say to you, hey, check out the Empire Bagel Factory. So I hope that's helpful.
Well, yeah, the only problem that I have with them is that their newest store that they opened up is too close to where we live.
Oh, well, that is tricky, isn't it?
I mean, you would think that would be a plus, but it's probably more of a minus than a plus.
It's a temptation.
It is. And, you know, sometimes we'll grab a bagel and we'll go down to the beach. So it's good for that.
Absolutely. So when you're on the hunt for the better bagel, give it a try and leave us comments below. What is your better bagel in the Naples market? We'd love to hear from you, and maybe there's a new place we need to check out.
That's right.
We are always open to another opportunity, but we want to share the insider tip. So there's the insider tip for today. And now maybe we can turn our attention back to real estate, where you know, the market continues to be very strong. It continues to be a market where prices are trending up. maybe not at the super speed that they were trending up a year ago, but they are still steadily finding, price increases across most communities. And so that puts sellers a bit in the driver's seat. Inventory continues to be lower than we want based on the demand. And so you think, okay, what are some of the things that both sellers and buyers can do to really find a good match in the market, get to a good value point, and make sure everybody's really coming out with the outcome that they want? And there are a couple of tips for buyers, and then one I think we want to share that really is an opportunity for both sellers and buyers to think about that sometimes get overlooked. But, I think you had some thoughts about, for buyers in the market and how they monitor the market, what can help people get to a good outcome when we hear the headline, it's a low inventory market and it's a seller's market?
Well, we've had, people come on down and they had their first choice where they wanted to live. And maybe over the last year or so, they might have, that might be a stretch for them now, whereas, they were able to do it a little easier before. So what we've been able to find people homes in the Southwest Florida area. It may not have been the first area that they thought of. They had no idea that these other places even existed. And then we took them out, we showed them different places, and they said, wow, we had no idea. This is going to work out perfect for us. And it still gets them into the exact kind of home that they wanted, in the area that they wanted, but just in a different community that they had no idea existed.
That's a really good point, because there are often some hidden gems or places that might be in an adjoining town or an adjoining section of town where you really find that where you live your life, where you shop and eat, and where there are things to do, really all stay the same.
Right.
And you haven't given up a lot, but you may have just been flexible enough to find the value point that works for you and for your family. And there's nothing like going into that process with a real estate professional that lives and breathes the market data, and is looking for those opportunities, even as they're about to come on the market, to be ready when they are available immediately to recognize them and be able to pair up a buyer with that opportunity. And that's one of the things that we really work hard to do for all of our buying customers. And it seems more times than not to have worked out for the best.
Sure, it has. I mean, we've been able to find places that are resales, and we've also been able to put people, if they had the flexibility to wait for a new construction, they're waiting for a brand new construction in communities that, again, they had no idea existed. And their first thought when we pull into the community was, wow, this looks pretty good. You sure it's still in my price range?
And they're glad you brought them there.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So don't overlook that. And that's what we are here, to help with. So reach out and contact us if you're thinking about that move to the Southwest Florida area. And we can really work together to try to find the value points, the location preferences, and on all of the things that go into making a good decision for the long term, so that you don't end up either staying on the sidelines when you could have been finding that property for yourself, or you don't regret that you should have looked a little bit more and found that value for yourself and for your family, even in a market where the tide is rising a bit, and it's going to continue. And in regard to that, we do have a tip for sellers and buyers, an underutilized perhaps option for people. But before we do that, if you're finding value in this episode, I would ask you to give us a thumbs up on this. And also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really does help the YouTube algorithm to share this episode and everything that we're doing here on the channel. And it doesn't cost you anything. No. It's totally free. It gives you an idea when we're posting new episodes to the channel. And again, it just really does help share this information out, which we greatly appreciate. And if you have already subscribed, thank you very, very much. We really appreciate it. The growth of the channel's been exciting to be part of, and we have lots of ideas of additional videos to bring your way. So we are far from done.
That's right. Oh, yeah. That's
far from done. And now, as you were patiently waiting, I think the payoff tip for both sellers and buyers is a concept that you would call a backup offer.
Right.
Now, backup offers are a technique or an option for sellers and for buyers. Oftentimes, once the seller has a buyer and is under contract, they just want to stop showing their home. they feel like it's been disruptive, which it can be, absolutely. And perhaps they don't want to have that next open house, or they don't want to have the home shown for another week or two. And yet there is the opportunity that another well-qualified potential buyer might come along behind the one that's in the current first position with a contract. And what if that first buyer's contract just doesn't go through?
Well, we've had that where our buyers didn't have the first offer. They didn't take that. But a day or two later, we get a call and said, how about, you want to continue with your offer because we kept it in there. And it's always good for the seller to keep showing and keep accepting an offer until all the contingencies in your contract have been satisfied. And then you're going to go to close.
Absolutely. You want to obviously stack the deck to a success for that transaction. And having a backup offer that is labeled as such, and we have documents that kind of complement the whole contract process that can label something as a backup offer. What does it do for the seller? It does say, I have confidence that there is continued demand for my home. It gives me some leverage depending on how the buyer wants to navigate and negotiate going through the rest of the contract process to say, I can stand my ground a little bit. And I know that if for some reason things don't work out with this buyer, I don't have to go way back to the beginning of relisting my home and starting the process all over.
Back on the market,
Right, that kind of thing. You just very quickly and smoothly transition to a backup offer. So there's something in there for the seller, for sure. And what about for the buyer? I think the same thing. There are definitely some benefits to a buyer saying, I will go in the backup position. I really do like that property, and if it became available, I'd still want to pursue it based on what I know today.
Absolutely. Like I said, we've had people that actually got it because they were patient, put in that offer.
And in the meantime, a buyer who's in a backup position can still go out with us looking at other properties. If you find something better that you like even more, perhaps even a different price point, until your backup offer would be accepted, you have the opportunity to cancel it and to move on. And so you have flexibility as a buyer to know that you may be that next best offer, and this will get you right into that home you've been dreaming about. And if you find something else, you still have flexibility, and it keeps you in the driver's seat for your decision making. And why is this important right now? Well, when we look at the data just from February of 2022, so recent data over the winter, the last data that we have available, the data in the greater Naples area, different than it's been before, is that upwards of 25% of the homes that went under contract came back out of that contract and back on the market.
That's huge.
And that is so different than it used to be.
It's never been like that. That's been so high. That 25% have fallen through, and backup offers were obviously taken, or they had to go, or they had to go back on the market, depending upon how that was set up. So.
If you compare it to pre-pandemic statistics that exist from 2019 and before, our average would have been 3 to 5% of homes go through the process and come back out on the market without having closed. So 25% is a big difference. And what might we attribute that to, people are stretching. Buyers are stretching because home prices are going up, because inventory's low, and they really do want to get in there and get something. And so they may stretch and try to put in an offer, and then for a variety of reasons, whether it's financial or otherwise, they just can't put the package together, and it leaves them back on the market, and it leaves the seller starting over. So, if you are talking with us and you have either that buyer side or sell side, we can talk to you about whether perhaps backup offers would be an option that, while underutilized in general, is something to really think about and perhaps give you that little bit of an edge in a very competitive market.
Right. Where some people, well, that's done, let's go find another one. Maybe if they would have just put that backup offer in there, they a good chance that they would have been called.
It's something to talk about, something to evaluate for sure. So we can talk about that with you in your specific circumstances. Don't hesitate to reach out and contact us. Our contact information is all in the description below this video, and we would look forward to helping you find that right match in Southwest Florida, whether you're a seller or buyer in this very busy market. One of the other reasons, I think, just as a final thought about what's also continuing to make the draw to Florida a really strong one. Well, part of it's this beautiful sunshine.
The sunshine, the bagels.
Good food, and yep, that's right. And the economics of living here have a benefit for people depending on what state in the country you might be coming from, and for some of our international buyers as well. When you look across the U.S. 50 states, the latest data that was compiled showed that Florida had the fourth lowest state tax burden in the country. And you say, well, okay, that's in the running, that's pretty good. But what about those 3 states in front of us? And they're really wonderful states, and they have a lot of things to offer, including outdoor living, but in really different climates for really different reasons. The states ahead of Florida are Wyoming, Nevada, and Alaska.
Yep.
Well, those are great, but a lot of people who would consider Florida are not looking to live in Alaska.
That's right.
So if you're thinking about, the economics and the potential for how does the state tax burden impact your lifestyle and your buying capability, think about Florida here, because even amongst other sunshine states, this one is one that could have a real direct impact on your own pocketbook. And that's not something to overlook either.
No.
So while we're basking here in the sunshine this morning, and apologize for the glasses because it is sunny.
Well, at least you got a little shady spot right over there.
I did. But it's been just another beautiful, beautiful morning here in the greater Naples area. We look forward to sharing it with all of you. Again, I'm Terry with MVP Realty.
And Rich with MVP Realty.
And if you want to hear more about what we can share about the Florida lifestyle, look in the upper right of this video here. We're going to post another video that you need to watch next. So keep an eye out for it, upper right, and take a look. Have a great day.
Bye now.